Okay, for this video, we're going to be modeling a prototype of a pavilion. And so what you see here are the base of the pavilion, the roof line, and then also these posts. So we'll try to keep it kind of simple. And we're going to have a pavilion that actually sheds water, so it won't be a flat roof. And that's where the kind of 3D sort of lesson really is here today. First thing I want to do is go ahead and look at finding myself here a little bit. Okay. I want to go ahead and move this. Let's say this base is, we'll stick with our 18-inch kind of thing, and we'll go up 1.5, enter. So I have, even though these are the same color, maybe I'll change the color on this actually so it doesn't get confusing for me. Do dark green as my color for my guides too, and I've gone ahead and made some layers which I'll change the colors on these at some point. So I'm going to move this up to here. Do the same thing we did in the previous video. I'll just extrude this curve down 0.5, enter. So I have my geometry sort of for the pavilion, just so we can see it, or at least the pavilion surface floor of the pavilion. And I'm going to go ahead and turn that off for just a second. What I'm thinking is you have to think about what's the height of this. If we did it as 8 feet tall, or there's 8 feet of room underneath the pavilion, I can just type in 8 and then I click and I get this line here, which sort of helps me in a way. I can copy this geometry from the base of this all the way to the top, and I know that this is 8 feet between the pavilion floor and the pavilion roof line. Obviously you could do a little bit of math and figure that out as well, but that gets me sort of the pavilion roof line where I need it in 3D space. And I'm going to go ahead and switch this over to the guides layer, because this is really the guide. The first thing to think about is that we probably are going to have this have a depth just like we did with this. And so maybe the idea is go ahead and extrude this up another 6 inches. And so we at least have this in place. Now we can think like, okay, this is sort of the structure of what it's going to be like. But what's the roof like? And this is also another one where maybe the not doing cap with this is a good thing. Let me remake this for a second. Just let me back up a minute, because I want to sort of try to include everything in this. So let me just go ahead and get rid of this. I'm going to actually make a surface from this for a second, and so we can at least see where we are. Maybe I'll just extrude this down 6 inches to end with. But what I want you to show you is the post is like classic extrude. So if I just hit EC, and what I really kind of want to show you before we get too much geometry on the roof is that you can just go ahead and push this, and you can actually snap to this, and it should be really good. But let's say it's a little hard to see, and you're like, I'm gonna make sure I get there. You go through that. Obviously snapping is probably faster, but it's a way of teaching you a new command. I'm gonna hit trim. So again, it's like nice to have a surface so that you can trim from. I do my cutting objects, I hit enter. It's just kind of like how regular trim works. It's just we're doing it in 3D. And that just trims that back to that geometry and makes it a little bit cleaner. So you have your posts there. And if I turn this on, you have a sense of what that would look like. Is this, how you want it? Probably these need to be inside. They might need to be a little bit narrower, but those are all little decisions that you make as a designer. For me, I'm sort of showing you kind of the techniques here. So I'm going to turn this off again. I think I can go ahead and put posts on. And maybe just in case, I'm going to lock the posts so I don't mess with it. And I'm going to turn this surface off, or just get rid of it for now. So what I'm thinking is that I'll make this, I'm going to make this kind of an angled roof, and it's going to come to not to a point but to another hexagon. So real quickly I need to offset this, and I'll have to figure out what this number is going to be. Maybe I can actually measure from here to somewhere in here. is about 4, maybe that's what I want. I'll just do offset 4.75 and see what's going on. Oops, that really didn't work out. Offset 4. Okay, that worked a lot better. And then maybe it's just we went a little too far. I'll go ahead and offset this 0.5 and see what happens. Okay, that worked a little bit better. I kind of wanted it a little bit smaller, but maybe we'll see what happens. And then we need to set a height for this. And then I need to sort of figure out what my height is going to be here. Maybe it'd be better to do it here. Just do 2 feet and see what that looks like. And I don't know, I'm looking at it kind of thinking that maybe it's just depends on, I guess, the style. It looks a little flat in a way, so maybe I'll go a little bit taller just for fun. So let's do 3 feet. And I'm going to use pretty much really rigid straight lines, but what's kind of cool is we can do these curves. At some point we could actually do these curves as curving lines, so you could kind of have an interesting effect for your roof line, sort of that kind of Chinese garden style. Let me go ahead and do this real quick, and this is sort of trying to just do it as quickly and easily as I can. And you could do these as rotate or array, or any of these commands would be actually also quick. And make sure I got this right. And so I'm drawing in 3D, but you have to be a little bit careful that you make sure you use OSnap. So this will be sort of the outline of what this is going to look like. And each of these triangles, or actually it's not really a triangle because you have this, each of these we can make surfaces from these points. The fact that this is all one line and these are separate lines, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4 corners, it kind of lends itself to saying, let me just do surface from 3 or 4 corner points, and it just makes it a lot faster. So I'm just going to go ahead and let's put it on the roof layer so we actually get something when we do it. We don't have to move it. And again, we can rotate this, rotate, mirror, do all those things, or we can just manually for practice and to show you guys how it kind of works. And now that I've done 3, I think I'm tired of showing you, and I'm just going to mirror these things. And that sort of mirrors in to give you an idea of what this roof might look like. And here I'm asking myself, do I want this to be open or closed? And so that's some questions that you're going to have to ask in terms of, like, can you get up and see the rafters, or am I just going to do extrude surface? Sorry, planar surf. That's what I want. And that sort of doesn't have a thickness to it, so maybe I go ahead and extrude the curve like I did the first place and come down 0.5, and that creates the sort of rudimentary pavilion. I can turn this piece on. I got my roof line. The only thing, unless you want an oculus here, you can use this, and this should be planar, so that goes right in. And sometimes it's kind of fun to look at things in render view, at least when you can see them, see what kind of shadows it's throwing. It doesn't always, when it's white, it doesn't always work as good, but without materials. But at least sometimes it's fun to look at that. So that's kind of a rudimentary pavilion. It gets you an idea of what you're after. If you end up with a design that looks like this and you don't like it, well, that tells you you probably need to change it a little bit.